العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وسيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. So we continue the explanation of Fadl al-Islam by Shaykh al-Imam al-Mujaddid, Shaykh al-Islam Mohamed ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. We reached chapter number 12, Bab ma ja'a fi ghurbatil Islam wa fadlil ghuraba. This is the second to last chapter of the book. So we only have this chapter and the final chapter, chapter 13 of Fadlul Islam left. So he begins by saying, Bab ma ja'a fi ghurbatil Islam wa fadlil ghuraba. So chapter pertaining to the strangeness of al-Islam, ghurbatul Islam. Okay, وَفَضْلِ الْغُرَبَاءِ, and the virtues of and the excellence of those known as the ghuraba. Okay, those known as the ghuraba. Okay, and the ghuraba are the strangers. So the tarjama, as we've always mentioned previously and many different lessons, we, as students of knowledge, we really need to first and foremost understand the objective of the chapter. And then we need to find a correlation and a relationship between the evidences contained and mentioned in the chapter and the actual chapter heading. So the objective of this chapter is to clarify and explain and also affirm that this religion, al-Islam, will become a stranger. And it was a stranger when the message was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, and it will go back to being a stranger. And it is also to clarify the excellence of the strangers. And this strangeness is an indication that those acting in accordance to Islam are few in number. So this strangeness is connected to their limited number, that the people actually implementing and applying Islam will be few in their adad and in their number. And the author rahimahullah ta'ala here, he mentions certain evidences to support, 9 evidences actually to support the chapter heading. So the ghurba of the people of al-Islam, or the ghurbatu al-Islam itself and the people of Islam, is 2 types. The first is something known as al-ghurba al-qadariyya, the ghurba and the strangeness connected to the qadar, the decree. And this is the ghurba that the Muslims feel, that this is the ghurba of the Muslims when compared to the non-Muslims, because the Muslims are few in number to the non-Muslims. So this is a type of ghurba. Okay, this is known as al-ghurba al-qadariyya. Okay, and the second type of al-ghurba is al-ghurba al-shar'iyya, the ghurba of the legislative ghurba. And this is a ghurba. Remember, ghurba means to be straight, the strangeness, the abnormal, someone who is considered a stranger. This is the meaning of al-ghurba. So al-ghurba al-shar'iyya is the ghurba, the legislative ghurba, and it is the ghurba that the Muslim feels, the Muslim who applies and who acts upon al-Islam and acts upon the Sharia, the ghurba that they feel between Muslims, or when they are compared to those Muslims who do not follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam. So the author here talks about both ghurbas, okay? And there is a difference between al-ghurba and al-uzla. So you have al-ghurba and you have al-uzla, okay? Ghurba, as I said, is being a stranger, and al-uzla is isolation. Okay, there's actually a book authored by Imam al-Khattabi known as al-uzla, isolation. and he mentions the etiquettes of isolating here. So this isolation is physical isolation, and al-ghurba is more metaphorical. So a person can be in the midst of 1 million people and feel a stranger, okay? But they're not isolated. They are they are connected and they're talking to other people, but they are still, they still feel as though they're a stranger, okay? And al-uzla is physical isolation, okay? And Al-Imam al-Khattabi, when he talks about isolation, he mentions that there are 3 pillars to isolation, that a person is not allowed to isolate themselves. Abu Aisha, can you mute?
نعم نعم. عفوا أستاذ. Unmute yourself إن شاء الله.
No. So regarding al-uzla, okay, as Imam Khattabi mentions, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says that isolation is impermissible. It's not permissible for you to isolate yourself. And if you have to isolate yourself, as some ahadith recommend, some like the ahadith that we learned last week, where the Prophet ﷺ says, فَاعْتَزِلْ تِلْكَ الْفِرَقَ كُلِّهَا وَلَوْ أَن تَعُضَّ عَلَى أَصْلِ شَجَرَةٍ, like this hadith. So he mentions that 3 things have to be observed. The first is that the person who is isolating themselves because of the fitna in the world, because of all of the fitna that's occurring, that this person is not allowed to abandon the Jum'ah and the Jama'at. Okay. Number 2, that this person must choose for themselves a righteous companion. Okay. And finally, number 3, that in the end of times, that the person shouldn't, ينبغي أن لا يتوسع الإنسان في المباحات. The person shouldn't be someone who overly enjoys the things that are known as mubahat or halal. So they're mubah and they're halal, but if a person enjoys these things too much, then this could cause them to fall into haram and impermissible things. So he begins the chapter, rahimahullah ta'ala, with the verse, وَقَوْلُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى فَلَوْلَا كَانَ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ أُولُو بَقِيَّةٍ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْفَسَادِ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, فَلَوْلَا كَانَ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ, if only there were in the generations before them, أُولُو بَقِيَّةٍ, people of understanding, بقية, people of understanding, ينهون عن الفساد في الأرض, who forbidding corruption on earth, إلا قليلا ممن أنجينا منهم, except a few of those we saved from amongst them, except a few of those we saved from amongst them. So in this dalil here, the wajhul istidlal is إلا قليلا ممن أنجينا منهم. Okay, إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّنْ أَنْجَيْنَا مِنْهُمْ, because here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, except a few of them whom we saved. A few of them whom we saved. So this qaleel here is they are the strangers amongst al-kathir, amongst those people who refused to forbid that which is evil and enjoin that which is good. So the only people that refused, that were saved, are those who ordered ma'roof and who enjoined that which is good and forbade that which is evil. So mathalan, if for example we are in a household and we see someone in our household mathalan who is committing an act of, or a sin, listening to music, whatever, we have to enjoin that which is good. We have to teach them and we have to tell them that what they are doing is haram, it's impermissible. Obviously with leniency, with rifq, but we still have to tell them. We still have to enjoin that which is good and forbid that which is evil, even though they may not listen to us at first. This is the test. So this is why we have to persevere and we have to continue. So this is the wajhul istidlal from the ayah. And this istidlal here, this istidlal is basically the istidlal that Al-Imam Abu Ismail al-Harawi in his book Manazil al-Sa'irin mentions. Okay, in his book Manazil al-Sa'irin, there is a chapter in the book known as as al-Ghurba or Manzilatul Ghurba. He talks about al-Ghurba and the etiquettes and the reward of those people who are known as al-Ghuraba. And Ibn al-Qayyim in his Sharh of Manazil al-Sa'irin, which is known, his famous book known as Madarij al-Salikin, he mentions that the fact that Abu Ismail al-Harawi mentions this verse is an indication of the fact that he's considered to be very firmly grounded and very knowledgeable in matters of tafsir and matters of in his understanding of the Quran. Okay, so if anyone asks you and says to you, what is the proof of the al-ghurba, what is the proof in the Quran that the strangers are people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and they are people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards and he saves from his punishment, then this is the verse here. فَلَوْلَا كَانَ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ أُولُو بَقِيَّةٍ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْفَسَادِ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّنْ أَنْجَيْنَا مِنْهُمْ. So this ayah, هذه الآية تدل على فضل الغربة. Okay, على فضل الغربة. So that's regarding dalil number 1. Let me, some of you may have questions. No. The statement of isolation was from Imam Al-Khattabi, not Al-Baghdadi, Al-Khattabi in his book Al-Uzla, Al-Khattabi in his book Al-Uzla. So that's regarding Ad-Dalil Al-Awwal. So then we move on to Dalil number 2. Okay, Dalil number 2, he says وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه مرفوعا. Okay, and the meaning of marfu'an is أي رفعه إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and this is something that is attributed and ascribed to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. Here Abu Hurairah says that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود غريبا كما بدأ فطوبى للغرباء رواه مسلم. نعم, Islam began as a stranger and وسيعود غريبا, and it will return as a stranger كما بدأ, as it began. فطوبى للغرباء, so طوبى to the غرباء. طوبى here means paradise to the غرباء, or it means a valley in paradise. Both are correct. ولا منافاة بين التفسيرين. So فطوبى للغرباء, and this is narrated in Sahih Muslim. So the dilala is very clear here. The chapter is about the strangers, okay, and the virtues and the excellence of those people who are غرباء. And the hadith here talks about the ghuraba. So the wajhud dilala is very clear. Okay. So here, this hadith is actually a min dalail nubuwwat an-nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yani this hadith is actually from the indicators of the prophethood of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The prophethood, because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling us of something that will occur in the future. And as we all know now, we can see Islam now is a stranger now. Many concepts of Islam, many things that are in the Quran even, not even hidden in the depths of books of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, are considered to be strange things. Yani the basic tenets of Islam, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing that the 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 articles of faith, people are questioning everything now. Okay, so Islam now is considered to be a stranger, and the people who actually act upon Islam, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, are considered as strangers themselves. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ is telling us of something that will occur in the future. And the fact that when the Prophet ﷺ said, فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاء, okay, Tuba means, linguistically, it means min al-tayyib. May good things happen to them. Okay? May good things occur to them in this life and the next. May they be successful in this life. And may they be given the best of good things in the akhirah, which is obviously the Jannah. So that's basically what the meaning of Tuba means. So that's with regards to dalil number 2. Let me check if anyone has any questions. Manazil, so the book Manazil as-Sa'irin is Abu Ismail al-Harawi. The author of that book is Abu Ismail al-Harawi. Okay. If you can't hear anything, it's because you have to join your audio. You have to allow your phone or your device to connect to the audio. Okay. نعم. Ibn al-Qayyim نعم authored Madarij al-Salikin. طيب. نعم. طيب. So to move on, dalil number 3. So that's dalil number 2. Dalil number 3 is a hadith narrated by Imam Ahmed from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. وفيه he says وقيل ومن الغرباء قال النزاع من القبائل. So here he mentions different narrations. Okay, I'm going to mention dalil number 3, 4 and 5 together. Okay, so he says that Imam Ahmed he narrates from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and in the hadith the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asked ومن الغرباء, who are the strangers, يعني describe them to us. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he said النزاع من القبائل, النزاع من القبائل. Okay, and النزاع من القبائل means a few يعني people يعني in number in tribes, a few in every tribe. النزاع من القبائل means يعني a few in every tribe, meaning they are strangers even amongst their own people. Even amongst their own people, you'll find 1 or 2 who are upon the Sunnah, who are upon who are acting in accordance to Islam. There could be someone who reverted or converted to Islam, and they are living amongst their family who are non-Muslims, so they are considered to be strangers, and they are acting in accordance to Islam even though they are considered as strangers. So the reason why they have such a high reward in the sight of Allah is because everything is calling them to not apply Islam. Everything is calling them and inviting them to things that contradict Islam, things that Allah is angry with. However, they resist the urge and they resist the temptation for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they hold firm to their religion, they stick firm to their deen, they are steadfast upon the haqq and the truth. So hence why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated them to such a high status. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Prophet says, فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ, Tuba is for the ghuraba, and he makes dua for them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that he saves them from his punishment in this life and the next because of their enjoining that which is good and forbidding that which is an evil. So that's with regards to al-nuzza' min al-qaba'il. And then he says, وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ, in another narration, he says, الْغُرَبَاء الَّذِينَ يَصْلُحُونَ إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked, وَمَنِ الْغُرَبَاء, who are the ghuraba? In another narration, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, al-ghuraba, the strangers are الَّذِينَ يَصْلُحُونَ إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ. They are those who are they are those who are righteous who are righteous and who are pious إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ, when everyone else is corrupt. Okay, and Imam Ahmed mentions from the hadith of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, وفيه, and in this hadith, فَطُوبَى يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْغُرَبَاءِ إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ. So on that day, may good things come to the ghuraba on that day when everyone else is corrupt. And Imam al-Tirmidhi from the hadith of Kathir ibn Abdullah from Abihi, from his father, and Jaddi, from his grandfather, he says that the Prophet ﷺ says, طُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ, Tuba, may Tuba be given to the ghuraba, to the strangers, الَّذِينَ يُصْلِحُونَ مَا أَفْسَدَ النَّاسُ مِن سُنَّتِي, those who rectify and correct what people have corrupted from my sunnah. So you have all of these different narrations. You have all of these different narrations. So from dalil number 3, let's begin from dalil number 3. So in this dalil here, where the Prophet says, النُّزَاعَ مِنَ الْقَبَائِل, the isnad is actually correct, is sahih. So this is a hadith narrated by Imam Ahmed, and Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi also has narrated it in his Jami', and it is considered, the isnad is considered to be sahih, to be authentic. Okay, and the dilala of this hadith is very clear, because in the hadith there is bayanu fadl al-ghuraba. In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ here talks about, specifically mentions the excellence of the strangers, and this is its connection to the chapter heading. Okay, however, the riwayah of Ibn Mas'ud mentioned that is mentioned here, يعني الغرباء الذين يصلحون إذا فسد الناس, this is considered to be inauthentic. Okay, although it's narrated by Imam al-Ajurri in Al-Ghuraba, it's considered to be inauthentic. And there is another narration narrated by Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak in his book Kitab al-Jihad, and he mentions that Abdullah ibn Amr in this book, this is a statement of Abdullah ibn Amr and not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abdullah ibn Amr, who is a companion, he says, طُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاء الَّذِينَ يَصْلُحُونَ إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ. Okay, so Abdullah ibn Amr, he says that طُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاء, طُوبَى is given to the غُرَبَاء, and they are those الَّذِينَ يَصْلُحُونَ إِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ, those who are righteous and pious when everyone else around them is corrupt and unrighteous. Okay, so this hadith or this narration or this athar is given حكم الرفع. Okay, although it's the statement of a companion, له حكم الرفع. ما معنى هذا? What does that mean? Can anyone explain what that means? له حكم الرفع. إيش معنى له حكم الرفع?
It's related to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
It's يعني نعم, it's حكم الرفع. It's so if I say مثلا هذا مرفوع, هذا عفوا, if I say هذا مرفوع حكما, what does that mean?
It's been raised to the Prophet, to the level of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
But why? It's the statement of a companion.
Because it's knowledge that the Sahabi couldn't have gotten by himself.
أحسنت, نعم, very good. Jazakallah khair. Naam. It's knowledge. There's no way that Abdullah ibn Amr would be able to